I am so excited today for a very, very special episode of Off The Podium for many, many reasons. The first is that we get to return to the great sport of rhythmic gymnastics. We haven't talked this sport in quite some time since we had Emily Abbott and Alana Matthews on a couple of years ago after Tokyo. But what a way to return to rhythmic gymnastics today. Because we thought, let's just not get one on. Let's just not get two on. Let's get 6 people on one episode, the entire Australian all-around rhythmic gymnastics team, plus a bonus guest, the backup as well. We just want to get everybody to make sure that we cover every single base ahead of the Olympics beginning in just a few days. And I'm going to go around the room and introduce every single one of our great guests individually. And I'm also going to go around the room and butcher each of their names individually too, which is only a skill that I can manage here on Off The Podium. First of all, returning for her second Olympic Games in Paris. She competed in Tokyo in the individual and becoming the first ever Australian rhythmic gymnast to compete in both the team and the individual at the Olympic Games. It's a pleasure to welcome Lidiia Iakovleva to the show. Lidiia, first of all, welcome Off The Podium.
Thank you so much for having us. It's a pleasure.
It's a pleasure to have you, and feel free to all grade me out of 10 on how good or bad I say your names, please, as well as we go along the way. And making their debut at the Olympics here in Paris, it's first of all a pleasure to welcome Saskia Broedelet to the show. Saskia, first of all, welcome Off The Podium.
Thank you for having us.
Pleasure. Phoebe Learmont as well. Phoebe, welcome to the show.
Hello. Thank you for having us again.
Emmanouela Frroku as well. Pleasure to have you.
Thank you for having us.
Jessica Weintraub, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you for having us.
And I'm saying her second Olympics because for the second time she's going as first reserve for the Australian rhythmic team. It's a pleasure to have on the show Alexandra Eedle as well. Alex, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having us.
I don't even know where to begin because, as I said to you all off air, I think the maximum we've ever had on this show all at once is 5, including me. Now we've got 7, so it's great to sort of get there. I'll start with Lidiia, and I'm going to ask you sort of a general question. How are we all feeling? At the time of recording this, we're about a week removed from you all being announced at the MCG in a fantastic little announcement as part of the 13-strong Australian gymnastics team. But Lidiia, how are you feeling as the returning Olympian right now, about to go to your second Olympic Games?
It's definitely feeling still very surreal. Obviously, I'm very grateful that we were able to make it. It's been a long journey for all of us in group and for myself as an individual transitioning to group. It's amazing, really. We're living the dream, I think. We're just working towards doing our best in Paris.
Jess, I'm going to go to you because, again, I'm just going to go in order of the boxes on my screen. It makes it nice and easy for me. How are you feeling? You're going to your first Olympics.
Yeah, it's definitely surreal, like Lid said, but I'm so excited because I get to share it with like all my friends, and I'm so happy that I can go with like this specific group of girls because I wouldn't wish for anyone better.
Because you're all part of one group, right? The Aspire group, if that's correct. So you're all sort of part of, do I call it a club? Do I call it a group? Kind of what's the correct terminology?
A group.
A group. Okay, a group. All right, good. I'll make sure I use that one there as well, which I guess makes it extra special, as you're saying, kind of being there with your teammates who obviously you no doubt work quite well with. Phoebe, yourself, same question. How you feeling?
Again, it just feels so surreal. I'm very happy and excited to share this experience with my team as well. Like, it's just like a once-time experience, like for me, as well for the girls. It's just it would just be so good to experience with all of us together.
Emmanouela, for yourself, second youngest rhythmic gymnast for Australia in history. You're just on 17 years old, so congratulations for you. How's this achievement going to an Olympics at 17? I mean, I can only imagine what that must be like.
Yeah, it's crazy. A lot of people said this Olympics, and myself, I thought that this Olympics would be like out of reach. So to be actually qualified and going is really crazy. And I still can't believe it much.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, I barely even remember being able to walk properly at 17. I don't even know what on earth I was doing, let alone remotely getting close to an Olympic game. So many congratulations. Saskia, I mean, I need an extra thank you to you because you're the one who's helped organise this morning as well. So added bonus, not only do you get to go to a first Olympics, you help organise a history-making Off the Podium interview. So add that to your resume. But how are you feeling? Anything to add on kind of what's already been said this morning?
Yeah, same as the other girls, just beyond excited to experience the games with everyone. And we just feel so honoured and privileged that we've made it this far. I think even a year ago, none of us would have thought that we would actually have achieved it. We've just been through so much together. So to have it finally happen, it's just a dream come true.
And Alex, for yourself, I think you get the best job out of everybody here. I'm just saying this right now because you get to kind of just cheer on. You get to kind of be ready to go. You tick all the boxes, and you get also a free trip to Paris as well. So I mean, how are you feeling? Kind of like getting to go along to another Olympics in your position and get to hang out with everybody and support them and get ready to go and compete should they need you.
I really hope they don't need me. I'll be their biggest cheerleader in the stands, no matter where I'm sitting. It's definitely very different to Tokyo. Obviously with COVID, I wasn't able to go over to Tokyo to support my team that time. So I'm just looking forward to supporting them coming into Paris.
I always like to ask a question to anybody who's sort of ever been a reserve or in that position that, are you secretly hoping somebody gets hurt or sick or anything along those lines? But that's a very awkward question to ask you when you've got 6 people staring at you right now and probably not wanting that. But I mean, do we just want to pretend they're not there? And I can ask that question right now, Alex. Are you secretly hoping that somebody gets, something happen to them?
No, I'm really not. I've watched these girls from afar and now up close, and I just want the best for them, and they're really deserving of this spot and their chance to compete at the Olympics. So they can use me whatever way they want to make sure that all 5 of them get there.
Good answer. I like it. You're going to not get shoved into the small room at the village in a few days' time with that one. I'd love to hear just each individually your journeys through the sport because you've all got very unique sort of backgrounds and how you got into the sport. Lidiia, I'll start with you. You were born in Russia where basically rhythmic gymnastics is essentially the national sport, right? Like I think you're born in Russia and you're basically given a hoop. So, I mean, tell me about your journey. Is that basically how it started? So do you grow up in a country where, it's a sport that you pretty much are going to do?
Yeah. When I was little, all my friends in kindergarten did rhythmic gymnastics. It was like a standard for every girl to do that sport. So I went into it as well. And I only did it for around a year and a half when I was in Russia. And then we moved to Australia. And that's where I started to train. And I did take it quite seriously from the very beginning, I think. My mum made it very clear to me that if I want to achieve anything, I need to be training pretty hard at the gym. And so, we were training. My mum started to coach me as well at around, I think, the age of 8. So she started to slowly become my coach. And so I went to my first international sort of training camp in, I think, 2015. And I went back to Russia, and that's where I sort of began to get to know the sport a bit more, get to know what it takes to be the best, what it takes to achieve anything really in the sport. And I kept going back to Russia every year for about, I'd say, 5 years, and growing as a gymnast and getting new routines done, all of that. And in 2019, I was first year senior, and I was able to compete at the Senior World Championships, which was a very big honor for me and was a very good experience. Beforehand, in 2018, I also competed at the Youth Olympic Games in Argentina, which was a sort of an insight into what the Olympics would be like because we got to stay in the village as well. It was like, sort of like a mini Olympics, I would say. And it was an amazing experience, and that sort of got me thinking that maybe one day I will be able to go to the actual Olympic Games. From 2019, obviously we had COVID. For some, it wasn't a very good time, but for me, it was actually perfect timing because it gave my mum, my coach, and I an extra year to prepare for the Tokyo Olympic selection. So I'm very grateful for that period, even though it was very, very hard for the world, but I really took an advantage of it and tried to prepare fully for the Olympic trial. And in 2021, at the Australian Championships, we had the trial. It was a difficult period because there was a lot of, I would say, drama and things about that competition, but thank God it all turned out okay, and I was able to compete at the Tokyo Olympic Games, and I would say that that was just a life-changing moment for me. And yeah, I'm going to Paris, and I'm so excited to experience it again.
What's life without a bit of drama, right? We all need that kind of along the way with the journey. Just really quickly though, just you touch on the Youth Olympics. I mean, I could cover a whole episode on the Youth Olympics because we love them on this show, but you got a bronze there because you were part of the mixed team. What's it like competing in sort of a mixed NOC team where it's kind of like you and athletes from a whole variety of different countries? I mean, it must kind of, introduce you to a variety of different skill sets and give you sort of a real unique experience competing with girls from right around the world.
Yeah, it was definitely something very interesting. I've never experienced that before, and I think it was the first time that they were actually doing that sort of event at the Youth Olympic Games. I also made many new friends because we got talking a little bit before the competition, and yeah, it was an eye-opening experience, I would say.
Fantastic. Alex, yourself, how did you get involved in rhythmic gymnastics?
I saw it at my school in 2005. Unofficially, my mum would pick me up from after school care, and I would be like, I have to go watch the big girls train. And she was like, what are you talking about? I would run amok on the back mat. I'd do cartwheels and handstands. And then my coach finally came up to my mum one day and was like, I do a recreational class. And since then, I've been hook, line and sinker into the sport.
Fantastic. I'm just distracted by Emmanouela's got a cat going on a screen. And I know, don't apologize. I'm all for cats. Please, if any of you have cats, bring them in because I'm cat crazy. So please keep the cats on the screen there. Saskia, I love the fact that you've described rhythmic gymnastics as the most beautiful sport in the world. That to me is the quote of the episode that we need to lead with. I should have led with that. Bad post on this show. But I'm guessing this has been a lifelong passion from you then if you're that passionate about it to say that. So please tell me your journey in the sport.
Yeah, pretty similar to the other girls. I started when I was 5, just at school, just a few afternoons a week. I think it was an hour or so. It was very fun at the start, but quickly in the sport, like the hours build up. And I think by the age of 10, we were doing every day for 3 or 4 hours. So we got into the international stream at around the age of 12. And then I won nationals in 2019. So myself and Phoebe went to the Junior World Championships. And from there, that sort of really highlighted that the Olympics was going to be my ultimate goal. From there, I didn't really excel in my individual career. I actually retired for 2 months during COVID. And then I came back because the passion was still there. And then I transitioned into group with the other girls in 2022. We went on to compete at World Cups and World Challenge Cups before being selected for the Olympics this year.
Just a couple of things on that. When you say you go into international stream, what do you mean by that? Is that sort of a different form of rhythmic gymnastics compared to, say, if you just start off at club level?
So it's still part of the club. There's a high performance stream where you go and compete at the Australian National Championships, but then there's a level stream, which is you still compete at a national club championships, but it just doesn't mean that you can trial for international events. And only senior international will go to the Olympic Games. So you have to be part of that high performance stream.
Right. And is that unique to rhythmic? Or is that similar? Do they do that in artistic or trampoline, or is that purely unique to rhythmic?
I'm not 100% sure. I would assume that they do it in the other sports.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they do.
And just on that too, you touch on sort of when you switched to team, and I don't know, Lydia, maybe if you want to chime in here and sort of obviously you were individual in Tokyo and now going to be part of the team. Is that common in rhythmic that you sort of pick one or the other, that you're going to be individual or team, or can you do both at the same time?
Yeah, I think we all sort of did both in our early years. I definitely did group until the age of 14 or so. But then you do sort of specialize at that age because it's hard to excel in both disciplines. You have to commit all your time to either one. But in 2022, we decided to form a group and just focus on group. So during that year, we were actually doing individuals and group, but it meant that our time was split between the two, so we couldn't really get to the top in either. But yeah, it's not a lot easier, but you have a much higher chance of getting 5 people to an Olympic Games rather than qualifying just as the one individual.
I'm just saying this right now because I always like to stir the pot and cause rivalry between the different disciplines in the sports, but rhythmic gymnasts, harder, tougher athletes than artistic gymnasts because, Simone Biles can qualify for 5 individual events and then get part of a team. Easy. Whereas you've got to put commitment into being in a team, right? It's more of a team environment. You just don't go bugger off and win a bunch of medals, basically. Just on that, I'll get to you, Emmanouela. Lydia, when it came to you sort of now being in this team environment and being individual in Tokyo, similar to what Saskia was saying, was that just sort of the switch, the natural progression and kind of where you were getting in the sport, sort of what brought about that switch from individual to team? And just quickly, Lydia, I think you're on mute to be Boomer Ben here, basically say that. You're right.
So in 2022, we were all doing individuals and group. And I actually remember, I think it was before World Challenge Cup. I haven't done group for a while, but we got selected to compete there. I actually didn't even remember the routine because we haven't done it for weeks. So that was fun, to say the least, to learn the routine again, like a few days before the competition. So it was very challenging, and I think for the other girls it was very challenging as well. But yeah, after the Commonwealth Games in 2022, I decided that I think I still have fuel in my tank to continue with the sport, but I think I wanted to change, and I needed a change to sort of continue. And I'm very glad that all the girls decided that they also want to continue and do group. And I think for us, it opened up new opportunities. And I think if we weren't to continue with group, we would all retire. Most of us, I think, would retire. But with group, I think, it just opened up a new fire in us. And it gave us amazing opportunities, even though it was a very difficult journey to get here. But it was just a very good decision that our coaches made, that we decided to make.
It's the fascinating thing about any gymnast we can get on this show is that here you are saying that you will retire and you're all so young. Like, it's just like the sport that you sort of look at, and I mean, it's crazy to think that you sort of, that's sort of the option with that when it comes to that. It's insane. Before I get Emmanouela, I'm not ignoring you at all. I just touching on what you said, Saskia, in your quote, it's on the olympics.com.au website, saying it's the most beautiful sport in the world. Tell us why you believe that rhythmic gymnastics is the most beautiful sport in the world.
I think it's the most beautiful sport because it combines so many different things. So it requires a lot of skill, obviously, to work with the apparatus, but it's also about being elegant and being artistic and sort of dancing almost on the floor, and making it look really easy and making it flow. But no one really understands how difficult it is to make it look easy. And it's just, I think it's so beautiful to watch, and it feels so good to do. You just express yourself on the floor.
Everyone's nodding. Everyone's got this look on their face of like, yeah, absolutely agree. Which, I mean, the thing that I love about what we do on this show is when we sort of talk to athletes from sports that aren't that highly publicized, and learn about that. I mean, one of the ones that I've really learnt a lot about, and I consider one of the most difficult Olympic sports, is artistic swimming. That is a sport that a lot of people will sort of look at and go, oh, well, like, what are you doing in that sport? But I mean, you learn about everything that they've got to do involved in the routines and everything. And similar to what you're saying there, Saskia, kind of like people obviously look at rhythmic gymnastics and just like, oh, it's the one with the ball, it's the one with the hoop, it's the one with the, that. But then you sort of hear what you're saying, and to kind of make it graceful and everything along those lines is obviously a lot that goes into it. Emmanouela, again, what's your cat's name? Can you tell us a little bit about your cat first? That's not the question I wanted to ask you, but I'm enamored by your cat.
Her name's Muffin.
Ah, nice.
I got her, end of 2018. So.
Right. Okay, she good luck charm for the Olympics at all?
Sure.
we can make it that way. Yeah. I think we can make it that way. You were born in Greece, so the home of the Olympics. I want to say this is almost like a natural thing. This is meant to be for you to go to the Olympic Games. But tell us a bit about your journey, and also rhythmic gymnastics in Greece. Is it a sort of a big deal in Greece?
Yeah, it's much bigger than in Australia, and especially after 2000, when the group actually won bronze at the Olympics, it became very popular. So, yeah, I started when I was around 4 or 5. My friend's mom told my mom that her daughter was doing it, and she was like, oh, Emma should try it, like, give it a go. And for the first year, I actually really wanted to stop and not continue. But my mom told me that after our first performance, then if I still don't like it, then I can stop. At our first performance, after we finished and everyone was clapping, I was like, I really want to continue, because, wow, the crowd was like cheering for me. So, I think the audience and all the cheering and stuff is what actually made me want to stay. After that, I got into stages, which is like pre-competitive, I guess. And that's when it got kind of serious for me, because I was also naturally like flexible, as I still am. Yeah, and
I'd hope so.
Yeah.
That kind of helps, I can imagine, in rhythmic gymnastics. Yeah.
Yeah. So coaches always like got to look at me and said like, oh, you should like go for this and all that stuff. So yeah, it got very serious at a young age. Then in 2016, we moved to Australia. Next year, I went to my first national championships. And then, I came first, which I did not expect at all. So I guess that was kind of a turning point for me to like, wow, I actually can do this and maybe get to the Olympics someday. So yeah, ever since then, I've been going back to Greece every year, training with my coach in Greece, who's also an Olympian, Frroku. And then, so I lived in Sydney for all that time. And then last year, September, I moved to Brisbane, continuing individuals. But then a lot of things happened in December regarding the group, and I kind of joined. Like, it wasn't really expected. But yeah, so I joined in December and stopped individuals, started group. And it was hard at first, but the girls and the coaches, they made it really easy to transition. And yeah.
Fantastic. So you not only the baby of the group because you're the youngest, but you're the freshest of the group as well in terms of joining. So how long have you, and anybody chime in here, how long have everyone known each other in terms of part of the Aspire group?
Well, Lydia and I and Phoebe started in 2022.
Right.
Jess joined us in 2023. No. Did I get
End
that
of 2022.
2022.
End of 2022. Yeah.
And then Emma 2023 and Alex just a few weeks ago.
Just a few weeks ago. Wow. So you're the baby of the group, Alex.
Yeah, I'm the oldest, but I'm very much so the baby.
Wow. Am I allowed to be rude and say when you say you're the oldest, what are you still like? 22, 23, like how old is the oldest?
I'm 23 and Lydia's almost 21.
Okay. Wow. All right then. Yep. I definitely feel very old on this episode all of a sudden. So there we go. Phoebe, I'm doing reverse order now on the boxes, by the way. But I believe you started out initially as an artistic gymnast, but then made the switch. So tell us about what made the switch to the real gymnastics. Let's shit all over the artistic gymnast today. Let's be honest.
Well, I was just basically when I was 5 years old, I was just sitting around doing nothing, watching TV after school, like just relaxing. But then my cousin, she was doing artistic gymnastics at YMCA, and her mom was like, why don't, like, there's like this friends, like a friends can join in the class. Why don't you come in and join in? So I went in and I joined, and I had a lot of fun in that one. And now my first coach was Anya Tbolkina. And she, after a few years, she said that she was going to open up a rhythmic gymnastics club at YMCA. And she was like, do you want to come join? Like, just try it out and stuff. And we said, yeah, sure. So I was doing artistic and gymnastics, rhythmic gymnastics for quite a few years. I think when I got to the age of 10, I had to make the decision of choosing one, because you can't, as well as what Saskia said, you can't excel in both. So I had to choose one of them, and I chose rhythmic because at that age I was still very young, because I really liked playing with the ribbons.
That's a perfect way of looking at it. Is there much, I mean, again, dumb guy here who watches the Olympics every 4 years and pretends he's an expert of gymnastics during those 4 years periods, but knows little outside of it. How is a transition from artistic to rhythmic? Like, I mean, like, besides the obvious of one you're doing, jumping on apparatuses, the other you're catching ribbons. I mean, can you give me sort of more of a more professional sounding comparison between the two, Phoebe, when it comes to transitioning?
Well, I can't really, because I wasn't the greatest at artistic. It was never my strong suit. So to be honest, I chose the one that I was better in. You
chose the better one, as we keep saying,
yeah.
the better gymnastics, essentially.
Yeah.
That's where we're going with that one. Jess, yourself, lucky last. How did you get involved in rhythmic gymnastics?
Well, I was born in Melbourne, and I've lived in Melbourne until I moved to Brisbane in 2021. So my whole life was there. But originally I started ballet at the age of 2, and my mum took me to a gymnasium because she thought it would help me with my ballet. And I just slowly started getting into it. And I did both ballet and rhythmic gymnastics for the first 12 years of my life. And yeah, I just did both because they each helped with one another. So it was good that I could still do both. And then in 2021, when COVID hit and Melbourne was in lockdown, the longest, we couldn't go anywhere. So I couldn't go to either training. And I had to just choose one because online training for both of them, it didn't make sense for me to do both. And then, so I chose rhythmic gymnastics. And then because in Melbourne, the clubs, they're all very small and they're not very big. So I made the decision to move to Aspire. And when the first year that I moved, I only did individual. And I just happened to be in the right place at the right time to join the group. And I'm very grateful for it because, yeah, the rest is history.
Fantastic. Is it okay? Is Brisbane like the hotbed for rhythmic gymnastics? Would you say, or is it just a coincidence that that's where Aspire is and that's where I go? I mean, anybody please jump in if you've got a thought on that or know the answer.
In my eyes, when I was in Melbourne, Aspire was the club to be at. I admired everyone who was there. And I thought when I was joining, I was so scared because I was like, oh my God, I'm going to be with all the cool girls. And never did I imagine that I would ever be in a group with Lidiia, Saskia and Phoebe. Never.
Wow. So they're kind of revered, are they? Like, can you embarrass them right now, Jess, and be like, these are you've got posters on your wall basically of these if you're trying to, no pun intended, aspire to get in, further in the sport.
Yeah. A little bit.
Just embarrass them completely along the ways. But I mean, for Lidiia, I'll go back to you then. So, I mean, what's it like then to be able to get a group of girls like this together with your now experience having been to an Olympics and kind of help them and almost mentor them to kind of, you know, let them know what to expect and all the little things that come with an Olympic Games compared to, you know, other competitions that you've obviously no doubt competed at?
Yeah, I think I've experienced quite a few competitions. I experienced lots of training camps throughout my career, and going into group, I've sort of developed a very different mindset. I've gotten older, I've gotten more mature, and I understand more about training, about like how to train and all these aspects of the sport. And every day I've been trying to help my teammates to sort of like understand what the sport is about, what it takes to be at the top, what it takes to, you know, qualify for the World Cups or for the Olympic Games. Sometimes I can be a bit harsh, I think, and a little bit mean, but I think it like the sport is harsh and very hard. So we need a strong character in order to achieve our goals.
Wow, I like the honesty there, because then that saves me from asking the next question to anybody who wanted to answer it besides Lidiia of like how terrible is she? How mean is she? You know, and does that help get the best out of you? Anybody, please chime in with that.
Yeah, she's not mean, but she motivates us all like all the time. So even like, obviously we're teenage girls, like some things are going to get lost in translation, but she has the best intentions at heart. Like she wants the best for all of us.
Okay. All right. I like that. Saskia, you look like you're nodding there. You agree with that? Like you were leaning into the camera like you were ready to sort of say something there as well.
Yeah, the same as Jess. I think without Lidiia, none of us would be where we are today. Like, she's not, I wouldn't say you're mean. You can be passionate and you know how to get the job done. And Lidiia pushes us every day. She is, the best leader that we could ask for. Is
there anything like that she does, and maybe this is almost like group therapy right now where we can sort of, you know, be honest and open with each other. Is there anything that she does that like really helps you the most? Is there just like one thing that you're like Lidiia, more of that, so that when we're in Paris, like that's going to really help us out there to perform well?
She's got some really good motivational words.
Okay. Such as? What are some good words that she likes? Is there buzzwords that she uses? Clearly not. All right, cool. We're going to work on that, Lidiia. We're going to get some good buzzwords that we can use in Paris, and we really push it out there.
Powerful speeches. Often before we go on and do they're called competitive routines at training. She just motivates us and gets us in the right headspace.
That's what you need, right? You need to go out there. Some people want to put on like some headphones and kind of listen there, but you want to go out there. Lidiia, do you just watch lots of sports movies then and kind of see like, you know, the big passionate speech that the coach gives in the locker room at like halftime when the team's down and they're going to come back and win the champions? That like kind of gets you some real motivation to give these speeches?
I do watch a lot of sport movies, but also like gymnastics has been my life from the very beginning. Like I've put everything on hold. I live like gymnastics, like it's all I think about. And so I'm very, very passionate about it. I'm really passionate about us achieving our goals and us training well. And also our coaches, Tanya Belan and Lidiia Iakovleva, have taught me a lot about how to be a team player and keep teaching me how to, you know, be a good captain and how to keep improving, being a group captain every day. So I learn a lot from them. And yeah, they just help me out and tell me, you know, some like secrets about, especially Tanya, because she was also in the group and she won the silver medal at the Olympic Games in Sydney, I think. And so she knows a lot about what teamwork is, and she helps me out a lot.
Just before I get to the goals, Alex, question for you. Are you kind of able to like help Lidiia there sort of with your role and what you were doing in Paris, kind of help coaching, help kind of cheer them on, kind of like, you know, and give Lidiia a bit of back up there on the inspirational speeches and everything that she's talking about there?
Lydia's inspirational speeches are second to none. I've only heard them for a little bit at this point. Yeah, I'm obsessed with them. They're actually so good. I'm just going to be there to be their biggest cheerleader. I'm there to step in if they need me. But yeah, I'm just there to really support them to get to Paris. And if they have any questions, of course I'll answer them. I usually step in when they're trying to figure something out to make sure it looks good. Or they'll be like to me, Alex, does this look good? And I'll either be like, yes or no. So that's kind of my role, and I'm happy to do it.
And when everybody's out there training, practicing routines and everything, I'm guessing you've got to be there to do it as well, because if all of a sudden somebody, last minute is out, you've got to be ready to step in at any given moment, right?
Yeah, that is exactly what my role is. So I basically cover all of their spots in the routine. So I have to know 10 people's positions across the 2 routines.
Wow. 10?
Yeah.
Jeez. Yeah. Okay.
So it's not just like I get to pick one person and I just shadow them for the rest of the season. I have to shadow all of them in case anything were to happen, and I really hope nothing happens. But yeah, no, that's what my job is. So I train alongside them. Every routine they do, I swap person to make sure I still know what I'm doing for everyone.
Again, I'm not trying to talk down anybody on this call, but you do have the most important role, I'm saying, and you got to be that knowledgeable. I can barely think of 10 people right now on the show. I struggle to remember all your names right now. I keep looking at my notes. You're ready to go. This is absolutely insane. Is it kind of as well that when you're studying and remembering these routines, are you the one who's up late at night with notes, kind of just making sure that you know everything? Because then you've got to learn a lot more than, you might have to if you were not a reserve?
Yeah, no, I definitely I do watch the routines very closely, and I do have a notebook with all of their spots written out. Saskia can attest to it. She's seen me at the kitchen table just slow-mo watching the routines to make sure I know where everyone is meant to be. I'm very grateful, though, that I've had the experience in Tokyo being the reserve, so I know exactly what I needed to do to be in the best position to help them.
It just pictures me, and again, this is going to age me because I don't think any of you were even born when this movie came out, but just reminds me of Cool Runnings when, Derice is sitting here at night looking at the turns in his bath, trying to remember everything. He's that focused on the goal at hand that he's trying to sort of do that. So have you all seen Cool Runnings? Saskia, you nodded at least, so... Couple, no. Jess is shaking her hand. Phoebe shaking her hand. Yeah, all right, cool. Lydia, all right, right. Well, viewing on the plane to Paris, basically, you can sort of watch it. Just in terms of routines and practice and training, how many days a week are you putting into it? Are you all right now, essentially working your butts off so that you are nailing that routine for day one at Paris? I mean, anybody chime in sort of and give me a bit of a rundown on sort of what you're currently working on and how that routine practice and everything works in the lead up to the Olympics. No one, if you don't want to talk about it, that's fine as well. We can move on, but go Emma, go. Okay. Chime in.
So we train 6 days a week.
Wow.
Yeah, we do 4 to 5 hours, maybe sometimes on Saturday 6, depends. Yeah,
on a Saturday too, that's commitment. I guess you got an Olympics, so that's kind of commitment enough right there. What's the, of all the apparatus and everything, what's the one that is, I guess, the hardest, the one that maybe you've got to work on the most?
The ribbon and ball routine.
Okay. And why is that? Is that just because it's naturally the hardest of them all?
Well, so we have 2 routines. One of them's 5 hoops, and that it's a difficult routine, but it's a little bit easier in the sense that there's 5 of the same apparatus, whereas ribbon and ball, we have 3 ribbons, 2 balls. So ribbon is hard enough on its own. It might look easy, but it's very difficult to work with. And then add in a different apparatus, and if something goes wrong, even the slightest bit, it's hard to adjust when there's different things. And yeah, I think personally, ribbon and ball is harder.
See, I don't know if this is a strange or a smart question, but where do you even begin when it comes to a routine? Is this something that, say, you compete at a previous competition, you do a routine, you go, that's great, but we can do this better? Or we need to do this for the Olympics to get a certain thing? Like at what point, maybe literally as captain, like do you kind of just sit down at one point and go, all right, team meeting, let's start working on our Olympics routine and this is what we're going to do? Like how do you even begin to come up with a routine?
Well, for us, we got our first group routine in 2022. We actually get our routines, like most parts of our routines, done online by a Georgian coach, Lali Dolidze. So she choreographed most of our routines and helps us out with that. So like we have a set of skills that we can do. We look at the code of points, see what skills are worth a lot, and we bring them to her. She puts them into a routine, or we put them into a routine. We choose our music, and it sort of starts from there. For the Olympics, we changed our routines in 2023 after Australian National Championships. And I sort of chose a couple musics that I liked, and I gave them to the coaches and they said, oh, yeah, they like that too. And so we decided on the music. And yeah, it starts from there. And after every competition, our coaches, Yulia and Tanya, they look at the other girls in other groups and they see what they're doing and they see what we're doing, and they see what we can improve on after every competition, and they add in little things here and there to improve either our artistry or our difficulty. So hopefully by the Olympics we'll have the highest difficulty that we can do.
Two-part question. First part's going to you, Lydia. How do you choose the music?
I look on YouTube quite a bit. I also listen on Apple Music. I just will put on like random movie playlists or movie soundtracks or just that type of instrumental music, and I listen to hours and hours of different songs, and sometimes I will listen to one that I really like and I will put that into my liked playlist, and I'll come back to it and listen over it again and again. And yeah, sort of look quite deep into YouTube as well, just for hours and hours trying to find the right music.
Okay, and then I'm going to put Phoebe on the spot with this one. Part two of the question. What do you think of Lydia's music choices, and are you happy with the choice for Paris?
I do really like Lydia's choice of musics. They're really unique, especially the girls that she coaches personally. Like those musics that she finds, I don't even know how you find them, but they're just so unique, and she puts all her passion into it, and like the choreography she makes is just amazing. Like just all those little accents as well. Like with our music, I find for us personally, we match it really well. And especially with ribbon and ball, it's like a unique piece of music for us to express in a different way compared to hoop, where it's really nice and bubbly.
Are you allowed to tell us what the song is or music, or is that sort of secret? Like we find out. Tell us. I'd love to know.
I actually don't know the name of our hoop music. Oh, I think it's Heads Will Roll.
Heads Will Roll.
Heads Will Roll. Oh, great song. Yes.
Yes. And our ribbon, I think it's called Wushu.
Okay.
It's sort of like a Chinese twist.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I like that. All right. We'll keep an eye out for that. Again, this might be a dumb or a smart question. I'm on a roll today with these. But like when it comes to your actual pieces of equipment, so your balls, your hoops, your ribbons, is that all Australia, like rhythmic gymnastics, or is that like Paris Olympic designated equipment? Like do you travel with that to Paris, or do you get given that on the day, if that makes sense?
That's so we'll take that over there.
Right. Okay, then. So you're constantly just traveling with like suitcases filled with like ribbons and balls and hoops, and do you often get pulled up at the airport and people are like going, circus? Like what are you guys doing? Like sort of questions all the time?
No, we definitely get a few looks when we have to go to oversize to the hoops.
makes for interesting conversation, no doubt, there when it goes that. Do you like? I always love talking to athletes who kind of have equipment that is very important to their sport. You know, I'm thinking of like shooters, archers, people like that. But do you get very attached to certain pieces? Like, do you have like a special ribbon that brings luck? Like, Emma, I talked about your cat bringing you luck, but like, I mean, do you have a special, like, you know, hoop? Like, anybody chime in. Like, have you ever had a real connection to one piece of equipment over the years that maybe, you know, when it died, you got a bit sad or something like, I don't know.
Yeah, I think in individuals, for most of us, it would have been the case because you're an individual, you sort of get acquired to one apparatus and you get used to it quite a bit. And in rhythm gymnastics, there's a lot of different brands of apparatus. So you take trial and error in order to find the apparatus that you like. In group, we don't have this sort of ability to choose an apparatus that we each like. So we sort of have to choose one group apparatus. And yeah, we need to look after them quite well because they're quite expensive, especially because we don't have a lot of funding in Australia. We all pay it with our own money. So yeah, our coaches taught us that we have to look after our apparatus because it's very important. It's train with it every day. It's like they're like our little babies, and we have to make sure that they're in good condition all the time.
Great. And do you all like have a speciality? So Alex, when you're talking about learning like, you know, 10 different routines, like Jess, are you a ball specialist? Phoebe, you're a ribbon specialist. Like kind of when it comes to those sort of things, do you sort of all have a speciality? Again, anybody chime in with that answer.
No, because we don't have like one special like apparatus that we do. We have different parts, obviously, but no, none of us like specialize in one because we do the same apparatus and the same routine. So you can't really specialize in one or the other.
Right. Okay. So if I'm watching during Paris and all of a sudden it's like getting down to the death and you need certain points, I'm like, oh, Saskia's got the ball. We know we're good now. Like it's not quite that simple, right?
No. I think, we have, I would say, like different skills. Like Phoebe is very, very coordinated, and she has very good apparatus skills. So she does a lot of tricky stuff in our routines because we can trust her with that. We can trust her that she'll do it at the competition. Emma is very flexible and has very good body work and flexibility, so she really helps us out in that aspect. Saskia is very athletic, very fast. She has very good leaps, also very coordinated. And yeah, just the same, very coordinated, has very good leaps as well. So we all bring a lot into the group, and I think we all add a lot into it to make it a good team.
I kind of feel like, and again, aging me here with this reference, but it's kind of like the Spice Girls when, you know, you've each got like your thing, your sporty, your posh, your ginger, your baby, you know, all that kind of things. Do you have nicknames? Like, do you kind of have sort of things like that for each other around it, or your coaches give it, or
we tried to come up with a name, but it failed.
What was the name that you tried? Now I need to know.
The Dance Mums.
The Dance Mum. Oh, yeah. Why can't we stick with that? You know, like that could work.
We also did the Powerpuff
We just did it one training.
Powerpuff Girls as well. Okay, right.
We have a team name though.
Oh yeah.
What is the team name?
We're the Warriors.
The Warriors. Okay, I like that.
Our motto is to fight until the end.
Fight until the end. Okay, I like that. Does that then? Do you have like a team song? Like, is this like really like team? Like, you know, like is there one track that you play like when you win, like a football team, you know, like that at all?
Not quite.
Not quite.
One, but
yeah.
But
Isn't there a Warriors? And Katy Perry has a Warriors. Is it what Katy Perry I'm thinking of? Somebody has a song with Warrior or something, is it? Or am I thinking of someone else? Am I just really being that old guy on the podcast, you know?
I'll have to look into it.
Yeah, I think she does have a song.
Thank you, Jess. Thank you. See? All right. I'm with it. I know new music. All right. Come on. I like that, though, because I was going to ask, like, do you have, like, a team name? Because I feel like every Australian team has to have a name. Like, that's just standard. You know, that's kind of what we're known for. So I like that. All right, Warriors. I'm gonna pay attention to that. Lidiia, you touched on it before. Goals for Paris. Now, I didn't really mention it in the introduction, but this is only the second time that Australia has ever had a team at the Olympics, 14th in Tokyo. I'm just saying this right now because I'm looking at who you're up against, and I just want to put it out there in terms of who you're up against. I'm looking at you, Egypt. They were 13th in Tokyo. They're there again. Similar in artistic swimming. We've realised that we've got a bit of rivalry with Egypt in artistic swimming. So I'm seeing this in rhythmic gymnastics now too. So Lidiia, as team captain, two-part question, goals, and secondly, Egypt. Can we get them?
We do have some goals, and I think, like for any team, for their goal is just to do their best. And our goal is to do our best, to do 2 clean routines, to perform them to the best of our ability. That's all that we can control. We can't control how anyone else is going to do. So that's what we will focus on leading into the games. We also have a super goal, but I think we'll keep that to ourselves.
Okay. Mystery. I like that.
If we do achieve it, it will be very good. But yeah, the teams are going to be very, very strong in Paris. It's the top teams of the whole world. So it will be a very difficult competition, but we're just there to make our coaches proud, make Australia proud, make ourselves proud, and perform to the best of our ability.
I like that answer. I actually want to put a fact out there for all of you to really boost you in the lead up to Paris as well. We did some research recently on this show when it came to the United States, because we're like, the USA, they're so good at everything, right? They win every medal, like they're so good. We're like, surely there's some sports that the US have never won Olympic medals in. One of those sports is rhythmic gymnastics. So I'm just saying right now, Australia, we are on par with the United States in a sport at the Olympics, rhythmic gymnastics. You know, just like them. We haven't got, but that doesn't make us any less than that. We're just putting it up there. There's this big rivalry between Australia and US in swimming. So there it is. And they're not in the team competition, are they? So just saying, better than the US at rhythmic gymnastics. So you can take that out there. Going to wrap up with some fun get to know questions, which we've never done with like 6 people on the line before. So this is going to be very, very interesting. But I've got 2 things that I want to get to first of all. Just in terms of Paris itself, this is obviously going to be an incredible Olympics for all of you. Your competition is obviously right at the very back end of the games. But, I mean, outside of the little thing called the Olympic Games, how excited are you all to just be able to go to Paris? I mean, is this... I don't know if you've ever been there before. I'll go around there and quickly. Phoebe, I mean, Paris. I mean, what a city to make your Olympic debut in. How excited are you to get to see Paris?
I'm so excited. Just experiencing it like with the girls all together, it's like a dream come true, to be honest. Like just to have us all in one place, just experiencing it is just amazing.
Have you all worked out who's rooming with who? Like, have you all worked out who's, you wait till you get there? I mean, you don't have to answer this if you don't want to. You could just maybe nod, but do you have preferences of who you share with? Like, are you looking all around the room right now going like,
Really?
I don't want to share with Alex, she snores, or, you know, Phoebe gets up too many times in the middle of the night. Like, I don't know. Like, I mean, I'm sure you've all experienced things along the way at competitions. Not to put you on the spot there, Alex, but we'll see how that goes. Jess, Paris, pumped?
Yeah, our team minus Emma has been to Paris to compete in the Grand Prix.
Right.
That was last year, but it was a completely different situation. So to go back there and to compete in the Olympic Games, it's just a magical experience.
Was it the same? Do you know if it was the same venue that they're going to be having? Like, was this kind of a bit of a taste?
It wasn't exactly in Paris, but we just went after the competition to just explore a little bit.
Okay, so Emma, if you weren't there, I mean, have you been to Paris before, or is this going to be your first time for Paris for you?
Yeah, first time. So
wow. It's just
really
one of these cities, isn't it, that you just think, you know, you're always on the bucket list to be able to see and do and everything along those lines. I mean, is it a case of, and again, maybe I'll throw this to you, Lidiia, as captain, but given that the competition is right at the very back end, I'm sure you arrive, obviously, at some point during the Olympics. I'm assuming you got to show up to compete. That's a weird question, Ben. But, like, I mean, is your role also to kind of help limit distractions? Because I'm sure even if you arrive like halfway through the Olympics, it's already on. Like, there's distractions. Paris is a buzzing. Like, you know, you've got to still focus on the competition. So how do you find kind of managing that? And then in a city like Paris, which as I keep alluding to, is such a magical city.
Yeah, we definitely will be putting a plan in place onto how to manage ourselves in Paris. We work with a sports psychologist, and she will help us to understand how we need to, like, what we need to do in Paris and everything like that. And yeah, we sort of, we've traveled quite a bit as a group this year. So we have a routine in place that we do before very important competitions, like in Bulgaria, where we had our main Olympic selection. We were really in the zone and we've limited any distractions. And it is a big competition, but I think when I remember in the village, you could feel that everyone was just trying to focus on themselves, even though it was very friendly. But it's a very focused environment. There's not many distractions. Everyone is just there to do their best, and everyone supports each other in order to achieve their goals.
Here's a question for you. I mean, people think gymnastics and they think of the great athletes, you know, they're generally thinking artistic, but like who is like the GOAT of rhythmic, and like, or like at least who's still competing? Like who's the current, like if I'm watching rhythmic gymnastics, who's the Simone Biles of rhythmic gymnastics that I really need to keep an eye on?
In group, the Israel team is just amazing. And the Italy team is also amazing. Yeah, we always look at them when we strive to be like them.
All right. Keep an eye on that. Israel and Italy, easy. Alex, I'm sorry to put you on the spot when I, just said that you snore and everything along those lines. But I mean, do you get a little bit more time off to experience Paris, sort of in between sort of routines? If you're just, maybe sometimes sitting around hoping that nobody gets hurt.
So I can train with the girls up until a certain point, and then after, I'm not sure what the date is, there can be no longer any change in the lineup.
Right.
So when they don't need me, yes, I will be exploring Paris.
Good. All right. There you go. There's the positives, again, of what you get to do there. Saskia, anything to add on Paris that hasn't already been touched on? I mean, your experiences there before when you visited?
I've been on a holiday myself there a long time ago, and obviously we went last year together. But I think it'll just be a completely different experience with the Olympic Games. Like I can't even imagine the atmosphere of the city. And I'm excited, obviously, very much to compete. But I think as a team afterwards, we never really get to explore the cities that we're in. So that will be nice.
I was going to ask, is there back end, I'm sure, do the closing ceremony if you can, but is there a plan, like time off plan? Can you, like a week away in Paris, there's a Europe holiday afterwards? Like, is there any plans of that you know of, or?
I've got 2 weeks in Italy afterwards.
Well, there you go. All right. Anybody else got any plans to sort of travel afterwards?
The rest of us are on a charter flight home together. So Emma, Lid, Phoebe and I.
Okay. Wow. Saskia, you got lucky with that one then, it seems. The Italy holiday, basically, on that side of things. The other thing, before I get to the questions, I've got to introduce you to our show mascot. Everyone meet Cherry. This is our show mascot. He's a little bit battered and bruised, but we always like to see if he provide any inspiration for you. Lidiia, you talk about your super goal, like maybe he can help you towards that. And also, how do you think he would go in rhythmic? I mean, he's very flexible. I mean, you talk about you being very flexible, but I mean, he's very dexterous. I don't know how he would go with a ribbon or a ball. He's kind of always got a ribbon there, but any thoughts on Cherry and how he would do?
Well, he's got very long arms, so he can catch the apparatus.
There you go. Look at that.
Yep.
I like it.
Men aren't in rhythmic gymnastics, but
well, we can change it. We're all 2024 equality, right? Like, they've let men in artistic swimming. It's only a matter of time to rhythmic gymnastics, right? So there you go. He can give you some extra support out there when it comes to the Olympics. All right, we usually close out every single one of these interviews with a set of get to know yourself questions. Now, they gave these to their Team Canada athletes because we're sort of co-Canadian Australian on this show ahead of Rio and Pyeongchang. Given I've got 6 of you, I'm not going to go over every single one of these questions because we will be here forever, but I'm going to try and choose the fun ones that I think would be very unique. I want to ask this, but I don't want to ask this question because this is going to make me feel very old, particularly with you, Emma, because I'm very scared what you would answer with this one, but I'm going to ask it anyway, and I'm going to start with you, Emma. What was the first Olympics you remember watching?
2016.
It had to be like 2016 or 2020, right? I'm glad you kind of went 2016 there at the end of it. So, because if I'm trying to do my math correctly, you would have been born for Beijing, but just
Yeah.
Okay, all right, there you go. And that's summer Beijing, by the way, people, not the winter a couple of years ago. Phoebe, what was the first Olympics you remember watching?
Sorry, my dogs have the zoomies and are barking, so
Everyone bring their animals in. It's like bring animal to work day. I like this.
The first one that I remember is 2012 London Olympic Games.
Beautiful. Jess?
Yeah, 2016. I just remember watching it in my bed,
Okay.
going to sleep.
That's what you wanted to do, right, when they were on at like 2 a.m. Lydia, you're first?
The first one would be 2012, but the one that I really watched was 2016, where Danny Prince competed for Australia.
Okay. Yep. Okay. Saskia?
I think same with me. 2016 mainly was focused on it. In 2012, I watched it, but I wasn't really that serious about the sport.
All right, Alex, I'm saved you to last because, again, I know you're the older, so you might even give me please say Beijing 2008 to make me not feel that old.
Yeah, no, the first Olympics I remember watching is Beijing 2008, but it was actually artistic because I did artistic at the time. And then obviously 2012, I do remember watching very intently.
Okay, good. All right. I'm glad there was at least one person answered something in the 2010s and the 2000s, sorry, not just all 20. Because if my maths is correct, none of you were even born when Sydney was on in 2000. So were you born in 2000 or 2001, Alex?
I was born in 2001.
Ah, God. Yep. All right. Yep. Ask the questions, Ben. You're going to get the answers you don't want. If you could be a superhero, who could you be? Alex, I'm starting with you right now for this one.
The first one that comes to mind is Elastigirl from The Incredibles.
Oh, yes. And she'd be great at rhythmic gymnastics, wouldn't she?
I think she'd actually be too flexible, but yeah.
Well, that can't be a bad thing, I guess. I don't know. That's why I'm not a rhythmic gymnast. Saskia, who would you be?
I'm going to say Superman because I don't really know too many superheroes.
Superman's the one you need to know, so that works. Lydia?
I really don't know any other superheroes except for Superman or Batman. Maybe I would have a superpower where I could go back in time.
Hey, yes. I don't actually, is there a superhero who can time travel? I don't think there is. So
Yeah, Doctor Strange.
Oh, of course, Jess. Thank you. There you go. Is that who you would be, Jess, and Doctor Strange?
No, I would be Wanda. Wanda Maximoff.
Okay. All right. You sound like you're a real superhero fan. I like this.
No, I just recently watched one on the plane. So.
Okay. There you go. All right. Yep. We'll get you back on after the Olympics when you watch Cool Runnings, and then we can talk about all the, Jamaican bobsledders and all that kind of stuff. Phoebe, who would you be?
I would say the Hulk.
Yes, the Hulk.
He's nice and strong.
Yes. Again, I'm not picturing him in rhythmic gymnastics, but hey, it's 2024. We can always try new things. Emma, who'd you be?
Spider-Man.
Bye. Yes. I like the diversity. It goes around here. Here's a fun one. I'm going to start with you for this one. Let's go with Phoebe. I'm looking at that corner there. Your favorite ice cream flavor is?
Ooh. I'm just going to go with the classic because I haven't had it in a while. Cookies and cream.
Oh, yum. Is that then like the first thing on after competition day, ice cream, because it's been a while?
Probably.
Yes, yum. Emma, favorite ice cream flavor?
Probably hazelnut.
Yeah, okay. I think we've had that answered on the show. I like that. Jess?
Dulce de leche. I love it.
Fancy. Oh, I like these taste buds. Lydia?
I like a good pistachio. Nice.
All right. Alex?
It's an Italian flavor called stracciatella. Oh, it's my favorite.
All right. Saskia, are you going to bring us some back from Italy at that rate? How's your Italian taste buds going then for the ice cream?
I like a good mint chocolate.
Yes, nothing beats good mint chocolate. I like that. We touched on this, Lydia, when we were talking about music. So the question here is, if you were a baseball player, what would your walk-up music be? I'm going to change that up a little bit, and I'm going to take Lydia out of this question. If you all had free range and you could choose any song to do a routine to, what would it be? I'm going to start with you, Saskia, for this one.
Oh, my God. Well, all I can think of is my favorite pre-competition song, and it's Fighter by Christina Aguilera.
Good song, yes. I like that. Now, I have to ask this question. Do you consider that like oldies, like old music? Because that would have been released probably around about when you were born?
Well, I wouldn't wouldn't say it's new, but
I say that again to feel old because I remember that coming out. So, there you go. Alex, what about you?
I actually don't have like a preferred song. I think I've done all the songs I've wanted to as an individual, so I think I'm pretty satisfied.
All right. Jess?
I have two very different answers, but I'm going to go with Writings on the Wall by Sam Smith. I've always wanted to do a routine to that song when I was an individual.
See, I like that on two levels. One, it's very unique for a song to do, and two, that's a James Bond theme, and I'm a massive James Bond fan.
I'm a massive James Bond fan, yep.
I'll take this opportunity to tag another podcast I do. It's a James Bond podcast, 007. Who's your favourite Bond, Jess? I'll have to ask you that quickly.
Definitely Daniel Craig. Definitely.
All right. I don't know if you can see the picture behind me, but I do have all the James Bonds playing poker with each other behind me there, if you can sort of make that out there. So there you go. Have you seen, sorry everyone to hijacking this interview really quickly, but I've got a Bond fan on here. I've got to do this. Really quick thoughts. Have you seen Die Another Day? And if so, what's your thoughts on Die Another Day, Jess?
No, I haven't seen it yet.
Okay, all right. Just come back to me when you do, and then your answer will warrant my co-host's opinion. So anyway, Phoebe, song, and chime in on James Bond if you like, Phoebe. If we all want to talk James Bond, we can do that at the end. But otherwise, Phoebe, your song that you would choose.
I used to have this one as an individual, and I really loved it. It's Boogie Wonderland.
Okay, right, nice. I'm loving all this diversity here. Emma, do you have one?
Yeah, I'll also jump on the James Bond train, although I have not seen it. I have not seen the movie, sorry. But yeah, Skyfall.
Good answer. Okay, nice. I like it. Wow. Lydia, I don't mean to leave you out of that one, but I guess you're sort of the captain here. Is there one, okay, I'll ask you this. Is there one that you've not had an opportunity to use that you're just kind of begging, you're frothing at the bit to try and use one day in a competition?
Well, I've been choreographing routines for our little girls in our club, and whenever I like a song, I would choose it for them. So it's kind of like I get to use it in a way. But
Okay.
So every year I choose songs that I really like, and I get to make a routine for them, and I enjoy listening to them in the gym every day. So
Great.
it's kind of a little thing that I
Okay.
like to do.
I like it. Last thing I'm going to ask you all, and this might be even give you each other ideas of things that you can watch on the plane potentially. The most recent TV show that you all binge watched is, let's start with you, Jess, for this one.
Umbrella Academy. Even though I'm watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine now, it doesn't count because I'm rewatching it for the 8th time.
Wow, okay. Just a few times then. So there you go. All right, I like that. Emma, yourself.
Also Umbrella Academy, rewatching it.
Also, is this like everybody's watching this together, is it? Or is it no? All right, okay. A few shakes of the head. Phoebe?
Bridgerton.
Bridgerton. Okay. Now, I've heard good things about Bridgerton. I've got a friend who's watched it about 3 times, I think, since a new one's come out. She's bemoaning the fact that it's ended. So I've never seen it. So maybe I need to get on there. Lydia?
Oh, I can't remember, to be honest, but the one that comes to mind that I really liked was Money Heist.
Oh, yep. Okay. Nice. All right. I like it. Saskia?
I've also been watching Bridgerton, not binging, but slowly getting into it.
Slowly get into it. Alex?
So I've finished Bridgerton, and I also finished the docu-series on the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders the other day.
Okay. How was that? I've heard that's quite good.
Yeah, it's really good. It's very different to like their previous show, so I highly recommend.
Okay. Is there any documentaries, movies, anything on rhythmic gymnastics that people can maybe check out? And if so, tell us what they are and where can we watch them, if you know where we can watch them.
On YouTube, when I was younger, I always used to watch the Margarita Mamun documentary. And I know there's one or two documentaries, like big ones, on the Russian national team on
Okay.
YouTube as well.
There's
Beautiful.
also a recent one on, I don't know how to pronounce her name right, but it's Victoria Onoprunenko from Ukraine. And
Okay.
that's an Olympic documentary.
There we go. All right. Because we're in that golden era of sporting documentaries really now. So I feel every sport's got something out there. So definitely keen to check that out. I am had an absolute blast with every single one of you on this show today, and I'm so excited to see you all compete in Paris and everything along those lines. I want to all give you the opportunity right now to tag social media where people can follow the journey. I mean, do the Warriors have a team account maybe? I don't know. So I'll start with you, Alex. I keep saying to end with you and start with you, but again, it's the order. But social media, Instagram, TikTok, anything people can sort of follow your time in Paris?
My Instagram is at Alex Eedle. That's my main account that I use. So yeah, just follow me on there.
Beautiful. Saskia?
My personal account is just Saskia Broedelet, and then we also have a team one. I think it's called the OS Aspire Senior Group.
Awesome. Lidiia?
Yeah, I have Instagram. It's Lidiia.Iakovleva21, and that's sort of the main platform that I use.
Great. Jess, and actually, Jess, do you have a side James Bond one as well? You should start one up, I think.
Yeah, I'll start one, definitely. No, my main Instagram is Jess_Weintraub. That's the one I use.
Perfect. Phoebe?
I only have one. It's Phoebe_Learmont on Instagram.
Beautiful. And Emma, and also, do you have a cat Instagram as well alongside your personal one?
I actually used to.
Hey, nothing wrong with that.
My mom was the one controlling it. So, but yeah, my main one is at Emmanouela.Frroku. So.
Beautiful. I'm going to admit something to you too, Emma. I used to have one for my cat as well. So it's the cool thing to do. No TikTok? Does nobody on TikTok, or don't? You got TikTok, and can we follow you on TikTok? Or you don't want to tag? You don't have to. I'm just putting you on the spot. But what's your TikTok?
At Saskia Broedelet again.
All right.
I'll put some behind the scenes in Paris.
Cool.
Saskia's going to be TikTok famous.
Yeah, well, that's what I want you to all be like TikTok famous. I thought you would be. I think Rhythmic Gymnastics screams TikTok famous, right? Like, I mean, we get to see all the cool things, the real gymnastics. That's what we like to call it. I'm not going to go around and thank you all individually, but I just want to thank you all individually at a weird time, saying all that to every single one of you for joining us. And we all wish you the very best of luck in Paris. Get that super goal out there. Go along with the Warriors, and we're all definitely cheering you along. And we'll get you back on the show afterwards, and we'll chat about your experiences all in Paris. How does all that sound?
Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.